to only 5 of the schools. Let's say the first school is really popular and fills up very quickly, unfortunately. The second school, let's say, is a academically selective school, is a screened high school, I'm sorry, and screened according to our admissions method says students are ranked by the school based on their 7th grade math and ELA test scores, grades, and or attendance. Now let's say a lot of students did better than you on those tests that applied to this school, and unfortunately you're not accepted to that school. So we move on to your third choice. Now the third choice is a limited unscreened school. And as we discussed earlier, limited unscreened means that students are given priority who attend an open house or visit the school at a fair. Now let's say you stay up late watching a movie and unfortunately you sleep in and you miss it, and your third school unfortunately once again rejects your application. And by the time we get to your fourth and your fifth school, they're already filled and you have to wait till round 2 to apply, and there aren't that many good schools, and there aren't that many schools left for you to apply to the second time around, and you're not given one of your top choices. So the point I'm trying to drive home is that you want to apply to 12 schools in your application because it gives you the best chance to get in to the schools your first time around, and you don't have to wait for the second application deadline where there may not be that many schools left for you to pick from. Now, does anyone have any questions before I move on? Yes. Oh, good question. Thank you. I should have addressed this and I apologize. What if you can't find 12 schools? Now guys, remember at the beginning when I said that that big New York City high school directory book? There are over 700 high school programs in that book in 413 schools. Imagine that, over 700 programs. So chances are you'll be able to find 12 that really are a good fit for you. All right, if there aren't any more questions, I'd like to move on. Now we've talked about the front and the back of our fast fact sheet. Now I would like to talk about the inside of it. Can everyone open up to the inside? All right. Now guys, what's going on here? Many of the high schools have different themes like art, science, technology, health professions, and government-related topics and business, as you can see here. Now, some of them have programs that are, electives or required classes that take you through the core. The first step in trying to find a good high school that fits for you is maybe you like writing, maybe you like math, maybe you love science and technology, or maybe you want to be a lawyer or graphic designer. There are high schools in New York that have a special focus on all these themes, and once you have, a few of these interests in mind, this middle section you can use in order to help identify, some of the programs of those interests. And the good thing about it is that since you're able to put up to 12 schools, you don't have to limit yourself to, let's say, the performing and visual arts or let's say law, government. Since you can apply up to 12, you can pick a school that has a strong visual arts focus or that has a strong law and government focus if both of those topics interest you. Now let's see here how we can navigate this middle section of the fast fact sheets. Now let's look at an example together. Does everyone remember the school that we picked at the beginning? Let's look for Bronx Latin. There it is, Bronx Latin. And it falls under this category, Humanities and Global Studies. Now, does anyone know what Humanities and Global Studies mean? Anyone? All right, it just means that some of these schools just have a general interest education core. They don't really focus in one thing, but they give you sort of the best of everything in order to help you make your choice as to what you may be interested in doing later on. So Bronx Latin falls under that school, falls under that theme. And can someone tell me what page number I can find more information about Bronx Latin? Yes, page 60. And once again, what type of admissions process does it have? Fantastic, limited unscreened. And what is the graduation rate of Bronx Latin? Oh, seeing some confused looks out there. All right, yes. So you won't find graduation rates about these programs there, but instead you'll have to turn back to the front, and then once we find Bronx Latin, there it is, you'll see that its graduation rate is 89%. Does everyone understand that? I want to make sure that we have that focusing, that not all the information can be found in here. On the inside, such as graduation rate, you'll also have to turn back to the front if you want to find out information about Bronx Latin. All right, guys. So I want to draw your attention to one more bubble, if I can. The academically selective bubble. So performing arts, health professions, and then academically selective. Now, these are screen schools, and if we turn over to the back of our Fast Facts sheets, once again, screen means students are ranked by the school based on their 7th grade math, ELA, 7th grade math and ELA test grades and/or attendance. And in addition, there may be an extra criteria such as an interview or an essay. Now, in order to find out about each school's selection process, all you need to do is just look on the directory look in the middle of your sheet, and you'll find their page number, and that way you can easily find more information about the school in the New York City High School directory. We've listed the page number for you here. All you have to do is just turn over to that. So now you have information on 30 schools that are A, 45 minutes or less from St. Hope, and B, have a graduation rate of 70% or higher, and C, that also have special theme programs that may interest you. Now, I want to remind you that this is meant to be a starting point in searching for high schools. This is not meant to be the only resource out there. In other words, we don't want you to think that the schools on this list are the only ones for you to consider. Since all of these schools meet a special criteria, which we listed for you, more schools are listed in your high school directory. Guys, we don't want you to just take these 30 schools and just pick 12 and put them on your high school application. This is not how this sheet was meant to be. We wanted to just list these schools for you, but also don't forget the schools in the directory. You might be missing out on a very important school if you don't actually check out the ones in the directory. Now, you can learn, just in case you misplaced that book, and since it's so big and heavy, I don't blame you for not carrying it around. You can also find out information on all the schools on the back of your Fast Fact sheets, right above the admissions method at that web address right there. And also, don't forget, your guidance counselor, Mr. Jacobs, is here as a resource for you guys. And be sure to ask him any question that you may have about the process. Now, before I leave, there's two things I want to address. Please keep this sheet, as safe as possible. Share it with your parents. Go over the information with them, and make sure this sheet is someplace safe. I am leaving a few extra copies with Mr. Jacobs, so just in case you do lose it, please see him. And secondly, please make sure you fill out your application as clearly as possible in order to make Mr. Jacobs' job a lot easier, so he doesn't have to find you in case he can't make out a school that you're right. If there aren't any questions, thank you for your time, St. Hope. I hope this has been helpful, and have a great night.